Okay, and we are live. At least we should be here. So let's see if this is working here. It looks like it is. Okay. So I don't know how many people are actually going to be watching this because I don't actually have that many viewers, but I decided to stream anyway. Setting up the Windows 98 Pentium III build, which I'm going to be talking about in a little bit more detail in the stream because I didn't really make a video about it yet. This is like the first video of it, so that's something. Now you're seeing black because the computer's not on. I have this VGA capture thing, which doesn't work that great, but it's good enough. So it's going to be full-on VGA capture with nothing else. Like you won't see me or anything because there's really no point. So yeah, we will be setting up Windows 98 from nothing and getting a bare setup. Might try a game or two if I can find some of my game discs. Most of them might be stored away, so don't know how many games, if any, that I'll be able to show in the stream. But this is kind of like a gaming PC that I set up for this, or it was intended for mostly to play older games. So having a gaming system that I won't be playing games on is kind of weird, but I didn't pull any of my game discs out for this video, for this stream. In fact, I didn't really prepare much for it, and you're going to see that later on. Mostly just due to the fact that this stream was just started like right now with no plan other than just my goal, which is to stream setting up Windows 98 on this computer. But I didn't really have any plans other than that. I didn't script anything. I didn't come up with an outline of how things are going to go. I just opened OBS and configured everything and started it. And I didn't even really configure that well. I don't know if any of the settings are right. I'm using my built-in laptop microphone, and it's going great. So the laptop microphone is probably going to sound like garbage, but I didn't want to pull out my better microphone yet, at least. If I end up doing more streams in the future, I'll pull out my better microphone, but it's my laptop microphone. You're also going to be hearing the capture from the PC once I get the sound drivers installed and stuff. Hopefully that's not too loud. I bumped the audio down a bit, but I didn't actually do a test recording to see what it's going to sound like. You can tell how well prepared I am for this stream, and I'm actually still plugging in the PC, like I'm plugging in the mouse right now, and stuff like that. So it is kind of hasty, but hopefully it's enjoyable to the people who may be watching. I don't know how many people are going to be watching, if any, but it's going to go up on YouTube after it's done anyway. The archive of the stream is going to go up on YouTube anyway, so that's something. Well, anyway, 3 minutes of staring at a black screen, so that's pretty cool. So let me grab my keyboard here, which you're going to hear the keyboard probably, maybe. If you can hear that, then you can hear the keyboard. You might hear it a little bit. This is the quietest keyboard that I have out at the moment. It's the only PS2 keyboard that I have at the moment, so, hopefully the sound's not an annoyance. But let's take a look here, see what we're dealing with. Okay. Alright, let's go into setup. So this is my Pentium III build, which I haven't talked about yet on this YouTube channel. This is a project that I've been working on for the past two or 3 weeks or so. Couple weeks of planning, couple weeks of gathering all the parts and everything, and the time assembling and stuff like that. But this is it, and I'm going to talk about it a little bit more as we go on. But this is a Pentium III Tualatin build, a 1.4 gigahertz Tualatin chip. Pentium 3S, 1.4 gigahertz. Did I say 1.4 before? If not, then it is a Pentium 3S, 1.4 gigahertz, 512 megs of RAM, GeForce 4 Ti 4200, Sound Blaster Auto G2 ZS, USB 2.0 controller card, a 3-com Etherlink 3 Ethernet card, and an Asus TOSL2C motherboard, i815EP chipset. And yeah, I'm going to be running Windows 98 2nd Edition on this to play all my older games. It's not a period correct build, really. If it was period correct, I wouldn't be using a GeForce 4 or an Auto G2, because those are kind of Windows XP era hardware, but they still have drivers for Windows 98 and they work pretty well in Windows 98. So, you know, this wasn't really going to be period correct. I didn't really intend for it to be. If I wanted it to be period correct, I probably would have got a GeForce 3 or a Voodoo 3 or something along those lines. I thought about the Voodoo 3s, but they're kind of expensive. And for a sound card, a more appropriate one probably would have been a Sound Blaster Live or a Aureal Vortex 2. I thought about both of those, and I almost got the Live. The Vortexes are kind of expensive. But I'm noticing that I'm sort of clipping into the red here as I talk, so I'm going to lower the microphone volume a little bit so it stays in the yellow, because I don't want it to clip too much into the red. I'm going to keep adjusting that as necessary, because I'm going to try going negative 1.5 dB here and see if that helps, hopefully. If I'm too quiet and if you can't hear me that well, then let me know, so that I can adjust the microphone appropriately, because I'm still trying to figure this out. If anyone's actually watching and they want to let me know about that, then let me know. So, alright. So, the clock on this is wrong, so I have to change that. It's actually 19... It's actually 1942. Well, now it's 1943. Keep doing this wrong. I'm just gonna make this like, yeah, we'll go with that. 1943-20. I don't think that's right. I actually wasn't that far off. It's good enough. It is February 20th, 2021, so that's right. So 7:43 p.m. February 20th, 2021. 1.44 meg 3.5. That is true. I don't have a B drive. Don't need floppy 3 mode. Primary master. This is my hard drive. This is an 80 gig hard drive. IDE, of course. And I have a NEC DVD RW drive. Don't have a primary or secondary slave drive. 512 megs of RAM. Stock 1.4 gigahertz with the stock everything else. I don't really change any of this. vCore, cache, and everything stays the same. I don't have OS 2, so that's disabled. USB stuff, yeah. RAM configuration, PC133. This is all stock as well. I think my card could use USWC, but I didn't really look into it, and I decided not to configure it to use that for right now. But everything else, it's running an HEP4X, which is the card speed. And everything else seems to be configured right. PCI 2.1. I'm not using the high priority PCI mode because the PCI slot 1 doesn't have a card in it, because I'm giving a gap between the GeForce and the sound card, just in case the GeForce heats up a bit. Give it some breathing room. But otherwise, these are all stock settings. This is all stock. I don't actually have onboard AC97 on this motherboard. There are versions of this motherboard that have onboard AC97, but mine doesn't have that. No swap, read write. Again, these are just all stock. All stock. I didn't change any of this. I just leave the IRQs on auto. I don't need to set manual IRQs. Primary AGP card. IRQ stuff. So yeah, this is all stock. Power management stuff. Yeah, it is what it is. This is mostly stock. I don't think I changed this. Alright, so I'm going to disable the boot drive, the boot hard drive here, so I can actually boot from the CD. Something with my network card, if I change the boot, well, I have my boot priority set to floppy. Hold on. Let me see here. I might not actually have to because I could just move. Yeah, I should have thought about that before. If I have the first one on legacy floppy, so the first one will try to boot from the floppy, and then it'll try to boot from the DVD drive, and then we'll try to boot from the hard drive, and then I'll put the network card. So it should go floppy, DVD drive, hard drive, and then network. This is a plug-and-play OS since I'm installing Windows 98. Boot virus detection, sure. Boot virus detection enabled. Quick post enabled. Boot up floppy seek enabled. Full screen, sure. Yeah. So floppy, DVD, hard drive, network. That should be good. So let's get the 98 disk and the drive closed. That's cool. That's nice. Whatever. Let's get that put in here. Hopefully this boots from the drive. We'll see. I think it should. Cool. So let's get to work here. Now, I'm not going to be partitioning the drive and reformatting, because if I do a partition through fdisk and format, I have to do a full format, and that's going to take too long, and I don't want you guys to have to sit through watching a drive format on stream. So I'm just going to be doing a quick format since this is already partitioned, and I already had a test Windows 98 installation on here just to see how things were going to go before I did it on stream. So this isn't really like a true first setup. I've already set it up before. I know that everything works, and I know how to get everything to work properly. So this is just going to be a sort of a reenactment, I guess, sort of. But at least everything's going to work, and you're not going to have to like watch me mess things up, because I already did that beforehand. So let's get this going here. By the way, if it's kind of loud, the fans on this computer are really loud because I need to get a fan controller, so there's 2 fans running at full speed, basically. Not the best, but keeps it cool. Alright, so let's format the C drive. We're going to do a quick format. Save some time. It's not really much harm in a quick format. I don't really mind it. So Win98, we're going to go back to the C drive, and I'm going to copy the installation files from the CD onto the hard drive. So we have C, Windows, Options, Cabs. I'm going to copy the contents of the Win98 directory from the CD to the hard drive. And normally the cabs folder, Windows, Options, Cabs, normally that only has the cab files, which is what OEMs would usually do. They would put the cab files on the drive in that folder. But I'm just going to copy the entirety of the Win98 directory into the cabs folder so that I can just run the installation directly from the hard drive. This is also an advantage so that in the future I don't need to provide the disk, because sometimes I don't always have the disk on me because I'm terrible at organizing and I lose it. I had to look for this disk for a while. Money. I don't have any money. It's hosted on dial-up internet. free net zero. Note to self, I need to get a better microphone set up. I'm gonna work on that. See if I can come up with a better system for this. Because at the moment I'm kind of like, nah, it'll have to work, it's fine. Now my capture device here is sometimes a little bit finicky, so it might mess up with the source sometimes, but and the colors aren't that great. I still have to sort of, what is it? I still have to calibrate or dial in the better settings, so the colors are kind of washed out in some places, but it's good enough. I don't want most of this. I mean, there's some things in here that I do want, but not most of it. System tools, yeah, give me that. I don't know who would ever want this. I don't need that. I don't need that. Give me multimedia. I don't really need multi-language, I don't think. I mean, I could look. I don't remember what multi-language support adds in. I don't really need any of that, so I'm not going to do that. Internet tools. I mean, I don't think. Internet connection sharing. Oh, multiple to share single. I don't need that. No, I don't need that. Yeah, I might need that. Yeah, I don't think I need that. I don't think I need that. Yeah, give me that. Dial-up ATM, no. Dial-up networking, yeah, give me that. 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 I don't know, I'll just take all this except for the ATM stuff. Whether or not I actually use all that is another thing. Address book, no. Sure, give me that. Briefcase, calculator. Well, I definitely need the games. So, yeah. Accessibility, yeah, sure, why not? I don't know if I'm actually going to use that, but Figment, yeah, cool. No. Yippee, cool. Alright, so this doesn't take too long because it installs from the hard drive. It's another reason why I copy the setup files to the hard drive. I can sort of shave some time off the installation. Not a whole lot, but pretty good amount. Now, hold on here. Basically, this the system that I have here is the Pentium III system that I've always wanted, but never really actually bothered putting together because for a while I was actually absent from, or I sort of put the hobby on the back burner for a long time, and I only recently started to get back into it due to many reasons, different things going on in my life. I wasn't actually messing with old computers for a long time. I think I went 2, 3, maybe even 4 years without even really actively thinking about them. And now I'm sort of back into it. And I think that me being absent was actually kind of detrimental to my. I think it was kind of detrimental to me personally because in the time that I was gone, the prices of computer hardware and just like such, even software too, has exploded. and it's a lot different world now than it used to be. When I first got into this hobby, well, there was never really a time where I necessarily formally entered the hobby. I don't know. I kind of always had the interest in these older machines, especially since my first computers were of sort of this era. I started off on Pentium II and Pentium III machines. Actually, I think my first was a Pentium I MMX, and then 2 to 3 on older Dell machines. And my first operating system that I ever used was Windows 98. Windows 98 on a Pentium MMX. And you know, that's not the operating system that I would run on a Pentium MMX nowadays. But I didn't actually grow up with Windows 95. I grew up with Windows 98, which is why even though Windows 98 is arguably not that much better than Windows 95, to me it's more of a sentimental thing than like a practicality thing, because in a lot of ways Windows 95 is better, especially when you use something like Windows 95 D Lite. It can just be a much better experience, also a much lighter experience. But I don't always, I don't know, like for certain things I do still like Windows 98 just because it's familiar, nostalgic. You know, nostalgia contributes to a lot of like non-rational thinking, but Windows 98 is also not all that bad. It's just kind of bloated in some regards. The forced active desktop and Internet Explorer integration is one thing. But there are a couple other things as well. But it also has its benefits. All right, hold on. Let's see. Oh. Okay. What I was saying is that me being away from this hobby for several years was actually a bit of a detriment when I came back, because there's a lot of things that I wanted to accomplish, or a lot of systems that I wanted to have before I sort of took a break. And when I came back, I realized that a lot of that hardware is really expensive now. Finding it can be a difficulty. In the past, I never really went to eBay to buy anything because I never really needed to. Recent times, I've kind of had to resort to eBay, because in the past I could go to local e-waste electronic recyclers and just grab anything that I could ever want, and they usually had a lot of beige boxes, Pentium II, Pentium III, older laptops, stuff that I wanted. But nowadays, it's 2021. These computers are over 20 years old. You don't see them as often pop up in e-waste, because most people that were going to get rid of them have already gotten rid of them. Now, it's not to say that it's not possible to find them anymore. It certainly is. But it is an act of patience. Like, you really have to be patient, and you have to be persistent in trying to find it locally, and eventually you can. But it was a lot easier back in the day. When I was putting together this system, it was hard to find deals on the video card, the motherboard, and the sound card especially were a challenge. But you know, you kind of just have to not be in a hurry to find this stuff, and if you're not in a hurry, then you will find it. I was not in a hurry to get all the parts to put this system together. It was basically, once I have everything, I'll put it together, but I wasn't like in a rush to put it together. So even though I had to use eBay, I was able to find deals. I got the motherboard for way under what I was expecting. The video card I got a good deal on. The sound card was pennies. The Audigy 2 ZS is not that expensive of a card anyway, but you know, sometimes, you know, I'm kind of cheap, because this is a hobby that I'm kind of like, I don't want to spend a whole lot of money on it, but I still like it. So I'm kind of cheap. So in the end, I was able to put the whole system together for cheap in comparison to what people would normally pay. and I basically got the system that I wanted. I got the CPU and the motherboard that I wanted right off the bat. The video card and the sound card are sort of a topic for debate because initially I did want a Voodoo 3, but they're like $150 on average on eBay. That's a lot for a video card from like 2000. And the sound card that I wanted is a Vortex 2. Those are like $75 on average. And you know, like there are options, and I sort of went with what was going to work for me. So I got the GeForce 4 instead of the Voodoo. So it's not the 3D FX experience, but it's also a more powerful card than the Voodoo 3, but it's also not period correct. The Audigy 2 is a really good card, but it's not necessarily period correct. It doesn't matter to me as long as it works under 98, and they do. In the future, though, if I could build another system, like I'm planning on a Pentium II build at some point to put 95 on. For that, I would like to have a Voodoo and a Vortex, but we'll see how it goes, really. It's really uncertain, because sometimes this stuff is just hard to find for good prices, but I'll keep an eye out. Sometimes you find deals still. Yeah, 2012 sounds about right. I think, like, I'm not too sure what the cutoff really was, for me at least. Thrift stores sort of went under before, at least in terms of finding older machines, those sort of went under the earliest. I think also there might have been, there was a lot that contributed to that. I think for one thing, it was sort of like the Goodwill curse where they stopped selling computers cheaply because they have like all that recycling stuff and they like upcharge on computer hardware. So Goodwill contributed to that. But even thrift stores in general, I think the popularity of thrift stores contributed to that to an extent, which made it a little bit more difficult. And people just donating the hardware sort of probably went down as well. There are many things that sort of contributed to that. I feel like the thrift stores suffered first. I also was a very frequent flea market hunter. I went to flea markets very often, and it was very possible to find older computers at flea markets for way longer than thrift stores. But even the flea markets around here started to suffer. I think maybe because more people were looking for it, but less people were selling it. Recyclers, for me, they started to drop off after around like 2016 was where it became like a normal occurrence. And from every point onward after like 2016, I kept checking, but it just wasn't as common to find this stuff. Like I said, it's still around, but you have to be really persistent. For a while, I wasn't persistent in trying to find it, so I think that's the Audigy CD. I don't want to install the Audigy drivers yet. I didn't label my CDs properly, but I don't want to install the Audigy drivers yet. So, pull that out. I have to find the disc that I'm looking for. They're all burned and none of them are labeled. But yeah, like appropriate Windows 95 computers, I stopped finding around that time as well, or at least easily. I found a couple laptops. The laptops have their own set of problems, though, especially the older laptops. They're not always the most desirable things in the world, and I have many of those. This is the right disc. Okay. The only thing that I need from this disc is the USB mass storage drivers. Cool. Because I have everything else on a USB drive except for the Audigy drivers. The Audigy drivers especially are obnoxious. Just the way that you have to install them is completely obnoxious. The CD image they have to burn is like 600 and something megabytes, and it has all this bloat crap on it that I would never want, like ever. And of course, it takes up your entire screen with garbage splash screens. The Audigy is a huge offender with that, but it works once you get the drivers installed, and I can luckily not install the bloat because there's so much of it, and I don't want any of it. But did it lock up? Oh no, it locked up. Actually, I don't think it locked up. I think my capture thing gave up. That's cool. Yeah, the capture thing gave up. That's cool. Let's see if I can figure that out. I had a feeling that was going to happen. There we go. It's kind of finicky sometimes. Like I said, it's not the best capture system in the world. I'm using a StarTech like VGA to HDMI scaler box, and then a HDMI capture into the PC. So it's not the best setup, but the only next best option is either an internal DVI capture card for like PCI Express, or the HD.io box, like the green box or something that costs like $400. $400 is like beyond the realm of like what I'm willing to spend for a VGA capture or like capture device for these things, but they have their worth because they're probably the best option. Most expensive too. Okay, so now we can use USB drives from this point onward, because I do not have enough disks to be burning. So where's my chipset drivers? Right here. My chipset drivers. Cool. Yippee. I think these are the newest version. I think this is the newest revision of the chipset drivers for Windows 98. I don't remember. It's a bit of an annoying setup, but for VGA capture, it is more annoying than it has to be. VGA capture has no place being this annoying, but it kind of is. So I kind of take what I can get in this situation. It works well enough. I'm surprised it's actually working this well. I was doing a test recording with this setup like a day or two ago, and I was getting a lot more problems with it than I am now. So it's actually doing pretty well for this stream, so that's good, because otherwise this stream would have been a complete and utter chaos. It would have been complete chaos. Now it's going to install a bunch of chipset stuff and make me reboot again. Yippee. And then once I reboot, I'm going to have to fix an issue that happens when installing these drivers. Whether or not that's the fault of Intel or Windows, I'm not too sure, but I'm going to get a resource conflict and then I have to fix that manually, but at least it's easy to fix. I struggled with that resource conflict that you're going to see for too long, and it was an easy fix, so yeah, we're not going to worry about that. All right. Yippee. Okay. Go away. I should disable that, but I'll get to it. All right, so I should probably first fix that resource conflict that I'm going to get. So I'm going to get this resource conflict here. This device is causing a resource conflict, and it's going to say that it's conflicting with the standard IDE ESDI hard disk controller. So I get around that by removing this, and then going back to hard disk controller, not printing it, removing this. So now I have no hard disk controllers, and then I'll reboot, and that'll fix the resource conflict. course, I'm gonna have to reboot again, so that's awesome. But at least I won't have a resource conflict anymore. Yeah. Installing drivers on Windows is so awesome. You just spend most of the time rebooting. It's great. I don't know what else I'd rather be doing right now. I don't need this disk anymore, so I can pull that out. Yep, cool. I shouldn't have a resource conflict for that controller anymore. And then I'll just have to reinstall the rest of the drivers. So there's really not that many more. Just the video card, the sound card, and the... oh, that's cool. Yeah, alright. Well, I know, because I took the disk out, so... Okay, device manager. Cool. So I don't have the resource conflict there anymore. Ultra ATA storage controller and the primary and secondary IDE controllers. And for network adapters, I still need to install that. PCI Ethernet controller, input controller. For USBs, for Universal Serial Bus, I just go to reinstall, automatically search. It'll find it here. Close. There we go. I have the USB 2.0 driver, or for the USB card, which the USB card was already working because I have the flash drive plugged into the back of the USB 2.0 card, but it just wasn't refreshing in the device manager, but that's fine. Ethernet controller is also easy. For that I just go reinstall driver, and then go through here and it'll find it for me. Yep. I think I have to reboot for this. Once it finishes. Any day. It takes like forever. It's fine. There we go. Of course, this will all come together and look a lot nicer once I actually get the video card driver installed. Which will take like 10 years, but it's fine. Was it mentioned how much these parts go for? I sort of talked about that. It's very variable. In my case, I went through eBay for most of them, and if you're patient, and if you wait around for a while and you just keep searching and just like keeping an idea of what you want, and then just like keeping up on what the prices are, what they're going for, or if you look past eBay and like other communities and such and see what people have, you can put a system like this together for relatively cheap. The problem is that nowadays these parts are vintage gamer collectibles. They get kind of expensive. Like for the sound cards and the video cards, they can get kind of expensive. The motherboards can sometimes get expensive. But if you look, you can find a good deal. Like I got the motherboard, this one for $35. It wasn't tested, but I mean, how often are the motherboard's going to go bad? They can have problems, but I kind of took a risk. So I paid like $35 for the motherboard, $15 for the processor, which is an overkill chip because a 1.4 gigahertz Pentium III you're not going to need for competent Windows 98 performance. I just wanted it. Sound card I paid like $15 for. Video card was like 30. The other cards were like $5 a piece, and then the rest I already had. So if you are patient, then you can find the stuff for a good deal. But normally people ask like outrageous prices for these things, and they're not worth the money. Like 3DFX cards, like a Voodoo 3, dare I say, is not worth $130 or $150. Dare I say a Vortex 2 is not worth $75. But you can usually find lower prices if you shop around. Sometimes it can be difficult, but that's one of the things is that like actually setting up a system like this in the modern day can be a deterrent because of the fact that the prices are so high. People are just overinflating the prices, and it's kind of ridiculous. Like this stuff, even though I'm a big, even though I'm very much a fan of this hardware and this tech, it's not worth that kind of money. Like, let's be real here. Most of this stuff is e-waste, or most of this stuff would end up being e-waste, and then people are trying to sell their Ariel Vortex 2s and their Voodoo 3s for outrageous money. Even GeForce 4s, which is what this has, go for like outrageous prices if you don't shop around. It's kind of ridiculous. But you know, it is what it is, but it's not always that bad. It really just depends on, you know, if you shop around, you'll find a deal. It just might take a while. Like for me, it took a little while to get this one up, but it is like the ideal build. I mean, there's also so many parts. Like there are so many video cards and sound cards and such that are underrated. Like a Sound Blaster Live is a great card for what it is. They're like $15 on average. They're like $10 on average. You can get Sound Blaster Lives all day long. They're good sound cards for Windows 98. For best like overall sound card, it's probably the Sound Blaster Live, and they're very inexpensive. Video cards, there's so many. Like a Riva TNT2 NVIDIA card, those aren't that expensive. They're actually very good cards. As long as you get the actual TNT2 and not like the budget version of the TNT2, it's a cheap, good card. And for Pentium III motherboards, you don't need a Tualatin board that supports a 1.4 gigahertz chip. And Pentium III motherboards, if you don't, care about the specific chipset or the CPU speed that you can put in it, then you could probably get Coppermine boards for pretty cheap. I just had a specific list of what I wanted, so that's where I contributed to it. Model F keyboard, like Model Fs are ridiculous, like $250, $300, $400 for a keyboard. Yeah, I mean they're not even really that conventional to use. So I wanted a Model F keyboard, just because, but not for that kind of money. I didn't even pay anything for this Model M that I'm using right here. This is a 1988 version of the Model M. I got it for free back in high school, so I probably wouldn't pay for one of these either because I got one for free. But that's also not really the norm. It was just my luck. Well, now we got the video card. It's not what I wanted. That is not what I wanted. Go away. Oh, auto adjust. Okay, that worked. I didn't think that was going to work for a second there, but it did. Alright, so for NVIDIA display here, analog display, yeah. Pentium III S, DirectX 6.1, GeForce 4 4200, 128 meg card. Yeah, okay. So this is about right here. So that's for the video card. For drivers now, I should only need the sound card. Yeah, so those are sound card related. See if I can bump this up to 1024 by 768. I don't know if it's going to freak out or not. I hope it doesn't. If it does, then I'll just revert. No, it works fine. Sort of. Doesn't look the best, but it's good enough. Okay, so sound card driver time. Now I have to remember which disc is the sound card one. I think it's this disc. I don't remember. It's either this one or it's this one. They're not labeled. I didn't label them. I should, but I didn't. Try auto adjusting this again. Okay, that worked. Actually kind of improved the colors, sort of. So that's cool. I don't think this is it because it didn't open up the creative splash screen. Yeah, wait. No, that is not it. Cool. So it's this one then. Yippee. I should label these discs. The Audigy drivers are obnoxious because you have to burn them to a disk, as far as I know. I tried using Daemon tools to mount the ISO to install the drivers, and it just wasn't having it. So that's awesome. So I had to waste a CD for sound card drivers. And now I have to deal with this again. Sweet, this time in 32-bit color. Awesome. Oh, that's real nice. I have no idea. Oh. Okay. I don't want this crap here. Just give me the Audigy drivers. It's going to ask me to install so much garbage with this too. Like it's going to be like, it's like, do you want to install the entire software library of Creative Labs? Like, no, I just want the drivers. No, I don't use the digital output. This will take a little while, but it installs the WDM driver, and then I have to switch over to the VXD driver after this is done. So it's kind of unnecessary, all this work that has to be done just to install sound card driver. It's also going to update my DirectX to DirectX 9. I don't know why it does that. I don't know why a sound card needs DirectX 9. There must be some reason why it does that. I don't know. This card is touted for like Dolby Digital and THX and 24-bit sound and digital out and DVD audio and stuff like that. I don't care about any of that, but you know, installs all this software related to like DVD audio and such. That's cool, great, thanks, but I don't want it, so don't install it. Just don't. Yeah, see, it's gonna update DirectX here. It's gonna nag me about a bunch of system files. Yeah, that's real nice. So great. I yeah. I guess in hindsight, I mean, creative like the Sound Blaster Audigy 2 ZS, it is an XP card, but I don't know, it works. I mean, the GeForce 4 is also an XP card, but it works fine. I mean, it works fine on 98. I don't know if I'm going to use it to its full potential on Windows 98, but who knows? As long as I can play, like, I'm not sure what I'm going to play on it. Apparently the GeForce 4 runs Half-Life 2 pretty well. Maybe I can get Half-Life 2 running on my Windows 98 PC. I know that Half-Life will run fine. Half-Life runs fine on a Voodoo, so I mean, I'm not too worried about Half-Life. Half-Life 2, maybe. We'll see. I would have to use like an older version, like the before Steam, or I don't think there was a version of Half-Life 2 that didn't require Steam. I think even the launch version did, but you can get a patched version, you know, through legal methods. Dubious methods, but it's fine. You know, I already own the game on Steam, but can't pull the Steam version into Windows 98 and play that. So I really am not a fan of this like full screen installer thing, but it's fine. It also seems like it's frozen, but I did this like yesterday when I was doing a test setup, and it worked fine. You just have to wait like for, yeah, see, there it goes. It's gonna put you to sleep. By the time it finishes, I'll have been long fallen asleep by then, but it's fine. I'm just waiting for it to bug me. Waiting for it to bug me about system files. because it's going to bug me about like the system having newer versions of the files that it's trying to put on here. And I just keep the newer versions. Was there Half-Life 2 on the original Xbox? I mean, the original Xbox runs a modified Windows 2000 and a lot lower end Intel chip than what's in here. So if it runs on the original Xbox, then theoretically it should run fine on here. I think the original Xbox also had a weaker NVIDIA chip overall. But yeah, I mean, anything that runs on the original Xbox should run on here fine. There's only the only thing that, you know, some games might require NT. So I just have to figure out if there's any games that require NT or not. I could install kernel X. I don't know if I want to install kernel X, but I could. I had to install kernel X to run Toontown on here, like the Disney client, because they cut off support for 98 after a certain period of time. So if I want to play Toontown, I need kernel X. But I wasn't planning on installing kernel X, so but we'll see how that goes, I guess. I didn't even know that Half-Life 2 was on the OG Xbox. I thought it was on the 3. I mean, it's on the 360. So that's news to me, but that's pretty cool. I'm actually surprised it runs well in the original Xbox. I guess I shouldn't be too surprised. The original Xbox wasn't that bad, but it was actually really good for the time. Insert the disc. No, I don't need to. I don't need to do that. I just need to redirect this to C Windows Options. There we go. That should do it. Why does this take so long to install a sound card driver? I knew this going into it. Like, before I bought this card, I knew that the drivers were going to take 10 years to install. I just don't know why. Like, is it really that necessary to take this long to install a driver? I didn't think so, but who knows? Creative sort of had a kind of a problem with, like, you know, making good drivers, especially for the live cards. They had a driver problem with just making good drivers, and there were also so many versions of the live card that it was just hard to get. It was hard to find drivers for them. There's like certain live cards that that are desirable, like the SB0100 and the SB0060, which are the best live cards to get. I was gonna get one of those, but I got the Audigy last minute. Don't know why, but it's a good sound card still. It's just the drivers are a pain. But once I have this set up and working, I'm gonna create an image of the hard disk so that I don't have to do this every time. Like, if the drive goes bad or I mess something up, I'll just write the image back onto the hard disk. I should be fine. Or if the hard drive inevitably dies because it's an old hard drive, but you know, I don't know what the health of the drive is. But it should be fine. It's an 80 gig out of like an old Power Mac or something, so it should be fine. I've like aged by like 10 years waiting for this, but it's fine. Did this lock up? No, it didn't. Okay. I never even know anymore. I mean, the hard drive is like going crazy. Hard drive activity is going insane, so it must be doing something. But that is kind of ridiculous. And then when I have to switch the driver to the VXD driver, it also takes a while. So like the bulk of the setup here has been the sound card. Good stuff. But I do have more videos in the pipeline. I'm going to have a more hardware overview videos coming. I have one planned. I might record it next week because, oh wow, it's actually done. Are finishing up. Um, I have no classes next week. I'm off for a week. I have a week-long break, so I might be able to get a video or two out. We'll see how that goes. I just wanted to make a stream for this because I haven't streamed on YouTube before. It's really not all that bad. It's actually pretty easy, pretty nice to set up. And this will also be archived on my YouTube channel once the stream's over. So, you know, it's an interesting thing for me to do also just to see how my VGA capture setup works. Because it seems to be working pretty well. I'm going to keep experimenting with it and see if I can get it, you know, dialed into exactly how I want it. And I might do more streams in the future, maybe playing some games or something. I do want to try out Half-Life 2 on this, so I might make a stream out of Half-Life 2 on my Windows 98 PC. So we'll see how that goes. And a couple other things. So, yeah, this might be okay. Cool. So it finished. Nice. It didn't even like give me that thing about overwriting files or whatever. Sometimes it does that. This time it didn't do that. I don't really know what the deal is. I don't want to register, but okay, fine. Install your product registration crap on my computer. Actually obnoxious. It's fine. Oh wait, never mind. I need to keep the disk in the drive. I think at least. I was trying to boot from the disk. It's not a bootable disk. You can chill out there. I really need to get a fan controller for this. I'm going to work on that because these fans are running at full speed 24/7. That's probably not good for the health of the fans, but on the flip side, it keeps everything cool, so I don't have to worry about the G-force going bad in here, or really anything dying from heat. So, you know, there's a flip side to the coin there is that these, like, there's a lot of cool air coming out of the back of this thing. It is kind of crazy. So it's loud, but you know, if I'm playing with headphones, I don't really need to worry about it. And I think the mic might be picking that up in the background. I plan on using a better mic next time I stream, so if I do, then you wouldn't hear the fans anyway. Um, at least that's what I had planned, but we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I mean, it is kind of loud. It's a wind tunnel, but I did want to make sure they had good cooling, so I put two fans in it, along with the CPU fan. And then there's the fan on the graphics card. Oh. Okay. I'm guessing the sound capture is working. Or maybe it's not. Huh, I can't tell. I don't think it is. It might have been, but who knows. No, I don't really want to register. No, like I really don't want to. Okay. Um, let's see here. Control panel. Sounds. Uh, hmm. Weird. Might have to reboot. I thought the sound should have been working. Might be plugged into the wrong source. Seems to be fine, but maybe I configured something wrong. There's no benefits in registering for this card. I don't know. Maybe there is. Maybe Creative will send me a new one if this one dies. Okay, that's a thing. I don't know what the sound is that's coming through the capture device, but it seems like it's picking up audio, but I don't know what it's picking up. So I turned it down, so hopefully it shouldn't like destroy anyone's ears if it's like feedback or something. Hopefully that's not what it is. I think I need to fix the color mode on this in the future. Or the color range. I will work on that. Alright, so I just lowered the audio. I'm assuming it works. I'm going to lower it to about -30 there so you can still hopefully hear what I'm saying. So there we go. So that's nice. I should have done all that beforehand, but you know what? It is A-okay. Alright, so now I need to switch to the VXD driver. So I have to use their program for that, or their utility for that. Install VXD driver and hope that it works this time, which it looks like it's going to. The last time I tried doing this, it gave me a lot of fuss. It froze the first time around, and then I restarted it, and then it worked after a long time of waiting. But hopefully this isn't like that. Okay, cool. It actually worked right this time. What a miracle. Glory to the eternal king of soy for allowing this to work properly this time around. Alright, so I didn't dig out any of my game discs for this stream, so we're not really going to be able to play any games on this, really, except for some good old solitaire. But I'll probably do another stream in the future, in a couple days probably, trying out some different games and trying out some different things in general. This was basically just like a base setup stream, which is what I was doing here, just to get everything set up and working. And looks like it's gonna work there. Yeah, I didn't bother digging out any game discs, which I probably should have done. I probably should have dug out at least Half-Life or something. I have a couple games on disc. I have SimCity and like Half-Life, a couple other games on disc. But I didn't do that because I didn't plan this stream out really. I was just gonna install Windows 98, which is basically almost done at this point. But this stream's almost like over an hour anyway, so like it's probably a good place to end it off once this is fully set up. I might do another stream where I try out some games and stuff and try out some other things and see what the capability of the GeForce card is, because I haven't put it through the test yet. I don't even know what it can do. So I know that it's a 128 megabyte card, AGP4X and stuff like that. But otherwise, that's all I really know about it. So I still have a lot to discover with that. So I'll probably do that in a second stream and just check this out and just like mess around with Windows a little bit more, and just see where that goes. This is really just a base setup stream. It's kind of a fun thing to do. I was mainly testing my equipment here, and what I have, and it seems to be going pretty well. I've only had one hiccup with the capture device or the capture setup in this entire stream, so or one or two or something like that. Really not that bad. Pretty good. Alright, I have to wait for this to finish, so it might take a little while, but I can tell that it's installed the drivers at least. The VXD drivers, so that's good. Didn't give me any problems this time, which is a miracle. Pretty happy about that. So. I don't know if it's frozen, it might be, but lesson learned, I shouldn't touch it. I should just wait for it to finish, because eventually it'll probably finish if I just leave it be. There we go, like that. One of those old web proxy things. Define what you mean by old web proxy things. That could mean a lot of things. Oh yeah. Oh hey there, Ruby. Yeah, you are a little late. It's fine. Yeah, it's fine. This will be uploaded like on my channel when it's done. So yeah, it's like a little over an hour long. But if you want to sit through that, this was just installing Windows 98. So you really didn't miss a whole lot. Just me yelling at creative sound card drivers. But thank you for stopping by. Once this is done, my drivers should be all done. Hopefully. Okay. There we go. We have everything. All right, yeah. So refresh. All right, so we have the FireWire port on the sound card that I don't care about, but that's all installed. CD drive, disk drive, GeForce 4 Ti 4200, hard disk controllers, keyboard, plug and play monitor, PS2 compatible mouse, yeah, 3-com Etherlink PCI card, Creative Audigy audio processor, Audigy game port, joystick emulation, all set. USB stick for storage, all the chipset stuff, and all the USB stuff, all working very nice. Hosting a proxy where you can set. Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, I know what you're talking about now. I can do that. I have to get an Ethernet cable that I can actually hook up to this. I need to set up my Ethernet switch and actually get this on the internet. But I see what you're saying now. Yeah, that is a good idea. There is another website, Razorback95.com, that is a website that is designed to run on older web browsers, and it has like a bunch of resources and such. It's where 95D Lite is hosted and a couple other projects and blog posts and such pertaining to this older hardware and software. It runs perfectly on these older web browsers. I think Internet Explorer 2 and Netscape 2 are the targets or something along those lines. And I want to get that up on here as well once I have this thing connected to the internet, which at the moment I do not, because I need to set up my Ethernet switch. I do not have a free Ethernet cable to hook up to this, so that's unfortunate. Looks like we are all set for drivers, so I can get some of this crap off the desktop. Like, why would I ever want this? So, like, go away. I don't want that, so, like, get off my computer. I don't need that, so, like, get off my computer. Okay. Computer. Okay, so now computer documents, internet, network, lineup, auto arrange. All right, icons are set. Let's see here. Yeah, it says Windows Me because I have the mass storage drivers backports files from Windows Me. It's still Windows 98, so we don't gotta worry about that. All right, so we don't really have to worry about Windows Update anymore because we can't really use Windows Update anymore since it doesn't work anymore. So yeah, no Windows Update. Creative stuff, yeah. Since I just installed the drivers, it only puts the bare essentials, which is good because I don't want anything else. It's all bloat. But I do need to set my desktop theme, which I always use underwater because I'm like, this is what I used to. Okay. It screwed up my capture by changing the theme. That's cool. Let's see if I can fix that. Huh. I have messed up my capture by changing the theme. That's really cool. Let's see if I can fix this. Huh. What have I done here? It's set underwater and it killed everything. So now you know the underwater theme for Windows 98 is the source of all evil, and it will kill your capture setup. At least mine, because mine's not that great. It sort of tries to work and then gives up, which is like nice. It's really cool. What do you mean you don't want free AOL? I need my free hours. Like, free hours for AOL. I need all 6,000 hours for free. OLED dark theme. Oh yeah. OLED support for Windows 98. Network setup connection. I need to plug in my modem. I need to get the modem drivers installed. Yeah, I'm probably not helping in this regard, but you know, if I was watching this stream, I would be saying that Windows 98 doesn't like me. Or I would like honestly, Windows 98 is like the annoying part. Is like I don't know. There's such a charm to Windows 98, but it's also so broken at times. So like you know, it's not gonna work, is it? Underwater broke. Underwater like killed it. Did it? Yeah, it did. It might be because of the color mode. That's weird. That shouldn't have happened. Oh, my capture setup is terrible. Yeah, so that's what can happen. Is apparently setting a theme can kill everything. I don't know how that happened. Let me try messing with this, see if I can get anything out of it. Doesn't look like I am. What have I done? Lesson learned, the underwater theme is not your friend. Um, or probably any theme for that matter. It just happens to be the one that I set. That's really bad. Let me try this here. I'm able to stop myself from wanting a CRT because I don't have room for one. So I don't have to worry about that because I don't have the space for one. So I can have all the computers I want, but well, practically. But the CRTs, nah, can't do those. At least I don't have really all that room, all that space for them. So it's bad that I have a lot of room for computers still because I have too many. Then again, like if I had to get rid of all my older computers, this is probably the one that I would keep because I can do so much with it, and it's like plays all the games that I want to. So like if I had to pick one older computer that I had to keep, that I could keep out of all of them, then it would be this one because, you know, I don't really need anything older necessarily. Even though I'd probably want like to sell the Pentium II or something like that. If I could only have one, then I would pick this one. Because I spec'd it out specifically kind of for that purpose. Like if I had to get rid of every other one that I had. Well, I'm in Windows now in safe mode, but at what cost? I was able to get back into Windows, guys. So great. Yippee. See if I can get back into regular Windows now. Maybe, maybe not. If I can't get into Windows, then I guess the stream will end prematurely. But we'll see. It was all going so well until I set the theme. That kind of shows you though how finicky this capture setup is that even doing something as simple as setting a theme can like kill it. I don't know why. I don't even know what the theme has to do with it not being able to like work, but that's how it is. And even though I set it back to Windows default, it might still not work, in which case I'll have to figure that out. I don't actually have any other monitor hooked up to this right now. I'm literally just using the capture input and then watching the OBS preview to see what's going on the screen. The latency isn't that bad, so it doesn't really matter. Okay, cool. So now I'm back. So, okay, I just won't set a theme. Yeah, it's fine. I'll just leave it at that. Yeah, I don't need you anymore. So as long as I don't set a theme, then I'm fine. This can go up to 1920 by 1200. You can go up to 1920 by 1080. Can I do that? If it breaks it, I can just... Oh, yeah, I can. But I have it configured in a weird way. Like, I have like the... Okay, so opening the settings kills it. It's so finicky. Okay, here I am at 1920 by 1080. Hold on, I'm going to set this back to 1024 by 768. Because normally, this is one of the reasons why I need to improve the setup. Oh wait, hold on. Instead of doing pan scan, I can do full, overscan, underscan, letterbox. So if I do full, then it will now it'll now stretch it to the widescreen. And then if I make it 1920 by 1080, that don't work. Dead. Oh, this setup is so bad. I wanted my 1080p. Give me my 1080p. Shouldn't be that bad. It's so finicky. It's so volatile. Okay, whatever. It is what it is. I didn't achieve my dream of having 1080p windows. I guess we can't get what we want. Oh well. But anywho, so now I have 32-bit color and 1024 by 768. Yeah, I mean that'll work. That's the more appropriate resolution anyway. No, I don't want active desktop, but I do want to show window contents while dragging. And smooth edges of screen fonts, yeah, do that. Screensaver. Yeah. Got my flying windows. Yeah. All right, cool. Do I have okay, well I have flying through space, which is basically the same thing. Yes. 3D maze. Yeah. All right. So now let me go away. There we go. I'm gonna plug in my Ethernet, or I'm gonna plug in the Ethernet cable. If I can find my Ethernet cable, I'll plug it in here. But we'll play Passport. I'm gonna go find my Ethernet cable. Found it. The MIDI synth on this card isn't that great, but it's not the worst. Okay. So I haven't updated Internet Explorer or anything, but it should work. Should. Aw, the internet don't work. Hmm. I can't get my internet. I don't actually know why it's not working. Maybe I didn't configure something right, but this Ethernet connection should be working. Should be. Well, if I can't get internet, then that'll be unfortunate. But yeah, it should be. It'll be fine. Cool Windows 98. Unless my switch isn't working right. It's possible. Yeah, it might be a problem with it might be a problem on my end. Because I can't seem to actually access anything. So I'll have to look into that. But yeah, so that's kind of where we're at now. Is that I do have an Ethernet plugged into it, but I'll have to check to see if there's something wrong with my DHCP or something like that, which there might be. I don't know. I don't think it's actually a problem on the computer's end. I think that it might be my own problem. I didn't even confirm that this Ethernet cable actually works, so maybe it doesn't. But yeah, so there's that. I think that that's probably all I really had planned for this stream here. I don't know how to play solitaire, so is there a 6? No. Is there a 4? No. Does it go? Yeah, okay. Do I have a? Yeah, I do. Okay, I got a 9 there. Okay. Do I have a 7? No. Do I have a 5? No. Do I have a 7? No. Do I have an 8? No. Do I have... Do I have a 2? No. Do I have... Okay. So 4. Do I have a 5 here? I am not very good at solitaire. Oh yeah, I'm doing so good. Loose cable? I mean, it might be a loose cable. On, let me see. Let me actually CMD here. IP. So my IP, my local is... let me try that. Ping 10.0.0.214. Unreachable. Hold on. Ping 10.0.0.1. Okay, I can't reach the router, so I might explain it. Yeah, hold on. I broke something, but that's fine. It shouldn't be broken anymore. Something really funky is preventing me from being able to access or even ping like local machines or ping my router. Very odd. I don't know if the connection is being blocked. It shouldn't be, but I'll check. But I don't have much reason to believe that my connection that it would be blocked. It might just be a problem with that cable, potentially, or something else. Let me check. Yeah. Very weird. It's not picking. I'll have to look into that. It might be a network related problem. Wouldn't be surprised, but that's really weird. I've never had that problem before. I don't even know if that cable's working. Possibly it isn't. But yeah. So can I ping? Do I have an IP? Yeah, config. Huh. My connection is going flaky. I'm not sure. I think my connection is going flaky here, which is odd. Let's see if I can ping my router now. I can ping the router now. Let's see if I can ping my other laptop. I don't think I'll be able to ping my laptop. It's probably a long shot, yeah. Let's see if I can ping Google. I can ping Google now, so I just had to do an IP config renewal, and apparently that fixed it. Yeah, the stream's being affected. I don't know why. My OBS keeps disconnecting my OBS keeps losing its connection and then gaining it back. It's done that twice. I don't know why it did that, but I hope that it's not going to do it again. I was in my router settings. I was poking around trying to figure out why this wasn't working, and that might have had something to do with it. It might have screwed with my connection. But I did an IP config renew all, and yeah, it's working now. So I just had to do an IP config renew all apparently, and now I have internet. Oh, look at that. So here we have Razorback 95. An absolutely invaluable resource for those of you who don't know. 95D Lite, which is what I used in my last video when I was testing PCM, and plenty of other things as well. So there's that. So good to see that working. So that's the first website that I have visited on here. which was what I was planning on doing. So now I should be able to connect to the old net, and I can do like, I don't know, give me huh. What do I want? Do I want I don't know what I want here. Id. Give me, what does id look like? Yippee. Sweet website. QuakeCast, Quake 1.06. I'd put Quake on here. N64.com. Sweet website. So good. Search. Yeah, there we go. That's what I wanted. Valve. Sweet. Bring me to the Half-Life website. Oh. Wonder why that happened. I didn't even do anything. Okay. It decided to die. Huh. Yeah, I don't know, just my luck, right? Okay, it came back. Now I'm on MSN.com, so, you know, just what I wanted. But, yeah, so far so good. Now I actually have internet access, so I can do a ton of things that you would do on the internet, like look up coronavirus information, which is really error appropriate for Windows 98 to be looking up coronavirus information. I can look at how to rework a PS2 mouse header connection, which I actually have to do this for one of my other boards that I have. Yeah, I actually need to look at this for later because I need to do that. Very, very good site for those of you who don't know it. You should check it out if you have any interest in this stuff. Because, you know, yes. But, yeah, so the stream is almost 2 hours long. I thought it was only going to be like an hour and a half, but it's like 2 hours long. So, but I'm almost able to end it anyway, so. What is VRML 3D Gallery? Do I need special plugins for that? They reached the video capture box. They like went through the VGA cable. Internet Explorer is tired, is fed up with me apparently. That's fine, I don't blame it. But otherwise, I think that is a good ending point for this stream here. And like I said, I will probably do more once I can improve my setup. I'll probably do more streams, probably. We'll see how that goes. In the future, I want to do more streams related to stuff like this, more capture streams. I'll probably do a follow-up stream to this one, or like a companion stream in a couple days, or actually play some games. I'll dig out my game discs and stuff and get Half-Life and stuff on here, Quake stuff, you know, and see what this thing can do. Just see what kind of games I can play on this. See what else, you know, there is that might be able to be done with it, and just have some fun with it. I was just thinking to myself that maybe, no, that's a high color theme, so that wouldn't have anything to do with it. I wasn't sure if the color mode would contribute to the themes not working, but I'm not going to try setting another one because it'll just break it probably. But this is probably a good ending point, and I'll come back and in the future, and we'll do some more stuff. I'm going to hook my modem up to this. I have the US Robotics, or the 3Com modem that I'm going to hook up to this, and see what I can do with that, and just, you know, have some fun with it. But got Telnet here. Telnet, yeah. Does that work? Yeah, it does. But to those of you who actually sat around and watched a like 2-hour stream of setting up Windows 98 on a computer with a bad capture setup and a terrible microphone, then well, I hope you at least somewhat enjoyed it, and hope you had fun watching me, you know, get annoyed at Creative Labs sound card drivers, and my capture setup just dying multiple times. I actually was doing really well for like the first half of the stream, and then the capture device just started to like just want to die near the end of the stream. You know, still things I got to figure out. It's very, very finicky. I still have to figure out what it is that I can and cannot do with it. And apparently setting themes is one of them for some reason. I don't know. But I'm working on that, so that's a thing. So yeah, there will be more streams as I come up with ideas of what I want to do for them. And this was a good start. This was really just a test stream, just to see how things are going to work out. It went okay, all right. In the future, hopefully they'll be better, but we'll see. And yeah, so there's that. I must crash Windows now because it's a good thing to do. There you go. Yippee. And yeah, so that's cool. What's it gonna do now? Okay. It's just gonna sit and like blue screen forever, no matter how many times I press a key. Or that. Oh yeah, shut down. No. It's dead. Well, I have a reset button on it, so it's fine. But yeah, so there's that wonderful stream for you. And you know, things. I'll just let this boot up one more time. I've already seen it boot up enough, but you know, you can see ScanDisk now. Yippee. I should have taken that USB drive out of the thing, but whatever. I should have pulled the USB drive, but it's fine. Yep. Well, thank you all for joining me. And until I stream again, yep. Thanks for tuning into this really long stream. That it was longer than it had to be for setting up Windows 98. So yeah. So signing out. Take care.